Dramatic events in January concluded when Eastbourne Borough announced the start of an exciting new era when they named Tommy Widdrington as the sport's new manager. Just a short while after, Tommy met some of the town's foremost business leaders at one of the monthly influential Borough Means Business lunches, where he outlined his commitment to his new role.
I will be doing my utmost for Eastbourne Borough. I'm moving my family home to the area, so I hope that gives you an indication of the commitment that I'm prepared to put into the football club.
After the lunch, the borough's Paul Maynard took some time to see how Tommy is settling in and preparing for his first match, and put some of the questions the fans have been asking.
Okay, Tommy, welcome to Eastbourne Borough. You've quite a history as a player and as a manager. Can you tell us a bit about your background?
Yeah, well, I was as a young lad, I was spotted in the northeast of England, playing for the local city team, Newcastle Boys, which was black and white stripes, and I was taken down to Southampton for a trial. And at that time, they had a satellite centre which used to train in Gateshead, funnily enough. Hence the reason people like Alan Shearer, Steve Davis, Neil Maddison went down there before me. We had quite a production line coming from the northeast into Southampton, and obviously with Laurie McMenamin's connections, that was further. You know, I think he implemented it to start with, but it was carried on with subsequent managers, and I ended up in Southampton. I had 8 good years there, played about 100, maybe about 100 appearances actually for Southampton in what was the First Division and then the Premier League, managing 3 goals, 2 of them against Chelsea, which to my children that's brilliant, because Chelsea are who they are now, but they weren't that then. The other one being against Leeds. Yeah, and I moved. The game took me as a player around the country. Basically, I've always sort of tended to like to be near the coast, because from Newcastle, the northeast coast, I went down to Southampton. We went back to Grimsby, had a little sort of sabbatical in the middle of the country at Port Vale for a few years, and then Macclesfield, and then back to down there to Salisbury to move the family back to Southampton. And since then, I was I helped Salisbury to get to where they did in the Blue Sky Premier. Firstly as a player, then as a player coach. I had a manager's role there for a while, which we had a fantastic season, to be honest with you. We had a very young aged squad, an average age of 20, just over 22. We accumulated 72 points in that 46 game season, but because of the dysfunction of Chester City and the financial problems that had happened before I took charge, we ended up finishing about 12th in the league, which was still a remarkable achievement. There was no ever any danger of being relegated or anything. And it was done with players who had fallen out of professional clubs, really, had kept the spine of the part-time lads who'd done very, very well for Salisbury over many seasons. But eventually the lads who had good jobs couldn't afford to make the switch, because the pay wasn't fantastic, but the opportunity to be a full-time footballer was what was grabbed by a lot of people there. So that earned me a move, if you like, in coaching terms, to Southend, to go under the wing, what I thought of Paul Sturrock. But unfortunately the football club wasn't portrayed to me in its true light, and the financial problems that Southend were facing meant that I, along with a lot of other people, were made redundant after only 6 months, which was disappointing, having worked very, very hard for the opportunity to go in at that level. But you know, after a few months out, I'm delighted to be back. Having spent a short time at Hemel Hempstead, I'm thankful to them for giving me the opportunity to get back into management, but didn't hesitate when the opportunity came to come to Eastbourne, and hopefully I can be part of another successful period in the future of the borough.
Great, well, we're very pleased to have you here. So apart from the weather and being on the coast, what was it that attracted you to Eastbourne Borough?
Well, it was the sunshine, but since I've been here, it's snowed and rained. But no, only joking. Like I said, my time at Salisbury was almost mirrored a year later, really, by Eastbourne Borough's rises up the leagues. So I can see it's a club that knows how to get to the higher echelons of the non-league pyramid, as it were. We're only one away from it as we stand. Infrastructurally, I've only been involved in 3 or 4 non-league football clubs, but this is by far, from what I've seen so far, the most stable run club, and that's encouraging from my point of view. With the history of the couple of clubs I've been in lately, the last couple of employments, certainly haven't been that way, with Salisbury's problems and then again with Southend. So you know, I'm looking to put some roots down. I've seemed to be drawn to the south coast, or to a coast anyway, when I go towards football. So let's hope this is a good match for each other.
Okay. Is there anything else that's impressed you about the club?
Well, I've got to say this, and I'll probably keep harping on about it every time I'm interviewed. But the local community and the people who want to help me, voluntarily or paid members of staff, is phenomenal. You know, they really are. Everybody seems to be a bit hands-on, which some people mightn't like. But I think, you know, with a club at our level, at the current level, it's really needed. You know, as we all know, sometimes it's not all about the money that people can give you, it's about the help they can give you, whether that's helping clear snow from the pitch, or, you know, helping with other aspects of running a day-to-day football club when the players aren't here, because it is very, very important. That's been really impressive.
Good. And what management qualities do you think you bring to Eastbourne Borough?
I mean, I think people who don't know me will possibly call me a little bit belligerent and a bit aggressive, but, you know, I think there's it's like anything, it's horses for courses. I do believe I'm a good man manager. I believe I see good traits in people, and I also see traits that maybe I don't want around sometimes. You know, I think you've got to be able to pick the wheat from the chaff, as it were, and make sure that you put the right bundles together, let's say. You know, I've inherited a full squad of players, although they're not all fit and well at the moment. The lads who are here, I've not worked with any of them personally as a manager or coach before, although I have tried to sign one or two of them before. Not that I'll tell you who they are, and never managed that, funnily enough. But yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I'm young in my job. I know, I understand that. I've still got a lot to learn, and I'm not so arrogant as to think the way I want to play football can be done every single week. It doesn't work like that, you know. In every game there is an opposition, and their job is to stop you from winning football matches. So I believe I'm versatile. I like to think I'm tactically astute. Other people can be the judge of that, but I know how I want my teams to play, and I know that I'll have every player versed in his role and the bloke next to him his role. So there'll be no excuses that when one of my teams goes out onto the pitch that they don't know what their job is.
And in terms of immediate and mid-term aims for the club, what would they be?
You know, it's no secret, like I said, and it's been spoken about many times. The success this football club's had has almost become a habit. And, you know, and habits are hard to break, but this club has happened to do that over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. And we've got a group of players who are a little bit low on confidence and almost forgotten how to win games. So very, very quickly, my remit is to make sure we're in this league and next season. Now we have 16 games to go to do that, albeit in a very short period of time, so the games are going to come thick and fast. So everybody who's here currently are more than likely going to play a part in the games, now if they're fitting well, that is, obviously. So my short-term aim or remit is to make sure we're in this league to start again in the Blue Square Conference South next season. Middle to longer term, I think we can look higher than that. I want to be challenging. I don't want to go to work for any football club that wants to stay where they are. I think that would be silly, and certainly the chats that I've had with the chairman and the staff here have indicated that they too would like to taste what they've already tasted once before.
Okay, this must be quite a frustrating time for you, with the waiting for the weather to clear before you can get to see the team in action. How have you coped with this period of inactivity?
It's been difficult, but again, I've have to go on about the local, you know, facilities that we've been able to use at the sports park and at David Lloyd's have been tremendous. I mean, lots of the country have been gripped in icy conditions, and we just couldn't get on the grass until last night, which was Tuesday night. And you know, I was pleased with what I saw from the players in the effort and the application that in every session that we've had. What I would say is, when they've been told this, I'm not talking out of turn, I believe we can be a fitter group, and I believe we can be of one mind better. There's a bit too much individualism, let's say, that I feel. You know, any car is only as good as its working components, and I think you only need 3 or 4 of them working components not to work, and you don't get a car going forward. So, you know, I want this team to move forward together. I want everybody to be singing from the same hymn sheet. So, as if there'll be 11 lads out there running around, they'll only be thinking one way, and that's the way I want the game played. So that's something that we've worked on since I walked in the door, really. That's both verbally, pictorially, I show them a lot of things on boards and things, but also now that we got on the grass, we've been doing that on the pitch. So hopefully we will go out on Saturday on my first game at Boreham and hopefully show an indication of what we're trying to put together. Okay, and you've obviously been working with the players, as you've said, for a while now in training. Are there any particular strengths that have impressed you? Well, 2 things are very apparent. We've got a lot of players who are very comfortable on the ball, which means I'd like to see in match situations that we retain the ball well. And the other thing we've got genuine pace in a lot of areas. So again, they're 2 things put together, like I said, and adding other components to that, you've got the makings of a team who can certainly win football games. But I'm not going to jump in and make myself look silly and say this one's good or that one's good or that one's not doing so well. they will all get the opportunity to show me in a match, and I think that's the important thing. Everybody can do well in training, and most of them have done okay in training, but the proof of the pudding is when 3 o'clock comes on a Saturday and they cross the white line. Can they take their training performance onto the match? Apparently that hasn't been happening of late, so let's hope there's a change in that fortune. Let's see.
Are there any particular areas you've been working on in training?
Well, the shape of the side, like I said, I think every manager has a favoured way of playing, and people ask me how I like to play, and I always say I like to win the game. It's as simple as that, you know. So I like to be flexible to a degree. I think you've got to take into account the strengths and the weaknesses of the opponents that you come against. You know, I can't be so arrogant to think that every team that I pick is going to win simply because it's the way I've set them out. So we've worked on what basic principles I want from defenders as a group, defenders as individuals, midfielders as individuals, and strikers as pairings, and you know. I think it's getting there, but it's very, very early days. One training session on the grass is not going to be enough, but hopefully we'll be on there again on Thursday evening. Like I say, we've got 16 games to make sure we win more than we lose, and that would see us fine for the next season.
I think it follows from what you've said that there may not be a style of play that's most associated with Tommy Widdrington. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think another thing I would like to assume that all managers think that their team represents a little bit of them as an individual. One thing's for sure is I want to win every game I play. Now, I'm not so silly as to realise that's going to happen, but any team that comes to Priory Lane certainly will not be leaving here without knowing that they've been in a game. And I want the lads to give every last piece of effort. You know, I believe today it's not a 90-minute game. If you look at the statistics showing that the amount of goals and games that are won and lost after the 45-minute mark and after the 90-minute mark are huge. So, like I said, we've been able to impress upon the lads in this mini pre-season, if you like. So our start of our season, Alan and I, that they need to be at it from minute 1 to minute 101, and that's something that I hope is reflected on a match day.
And in closing, what would you like your era at Borough to be remembered for?
Well, if it's half as successful as the previous guy, and then I'd have done okay. Because of the levels they've risen to, it's not inconceivable to see that we can go back to the Blue Square Bet Premier. That would be what I would like to do first and foremost. In football, it tends to be not the manager's choice when he leaves, to be honest with you. So at the time that it's seen fit that I'm not the manager anymore, I'd like to have left the team as a legacy of a side that people would have enjoyed to come watch, know that when they've paid their money to come through the gate that they've got value for money. Sometimes we'll win, hopefully more often than not we'll win, but if we don't win, people will go home saying, "Oh, they didn't have to give us a good effort there," because I do believe people who put their hand in their pocket to come and watch Eastbourne should be entertained, but on top of that they should be seeing players wearing a shirt and giving their all for that shirt, and that's what I'd like to be known. And I'll be doing as much as I can. I won't leave a stone unturned in terms of trying to improve the squad, but I won't just improve it with any Tom, Dick and Harry. It'll be players who I feel will take the football club further forward, and I'm delighted for the opportunity and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it.
Great. Tommy, thanks for your time today.
No problem.